Thank you for watching Two Vision Golden Era of Movies. James Francis Cagney Jr. was born July 17th of 1899 on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in New York City. His father, James Francis Cagney Sr., was of Irish descent. At the time of his son's birth, he was a bartender and amateur boxer. Cagney was the second of 7 children, 2 of whom died within months of their births. He was sickly as an infant, so much that his mother feared he would die before he could be baptized. He later said that his sickly health was due to the poverty that his family endured. The family moved twice while he was still young, first to 79th Street and then to 96th Street. The red-haired, blue-eyed Cagney graduated from high school in New York City in 1918 and attended Columbia College, where he intended to major in art. He also took German and joined the Student Army Training Corps, but he dropped out after 1 semester, returning home upon his father's death during the 1918 flu pandemic. Cagney held a variety of jobs early in his life: junior architect, copy boy for the New York Sun, book custodian at the New York Public Library, a bellhop, and a night doorkeeper. He gave all his earnings to his family. While Cagney was working for the New York Public Library, he met Florence James, who helped him into an acting career. Cagney believed in hard work, later stating, "It was good for me. I feel sorry for the kid who had too cushy a time of it. Suddenly he has to come face to face with the realities of life without any mama or papa to do his thinking for him." He started tap dancing as a boy and was nicknamed Cellar Door Cagney after his habit of dancing on cellar doors. He was a good street fighter, defending his older brother Harry, a medical student, when necessary. He engaged in amateur boxing and was runner-up for the New York State lightweight title. His coaches encouraged him to turn professional, but his mother would not allow it. He also played semi-professional baseball for a local team and entertained dreams of playing in the major leagues. His introduction to films was unusual. When visiting an aunt who lived in Brooklyn, opposite of Vitagraph Studios, Cagney would climb over the fence to watch the filming of John Bunny movies. He became involved in amateur dramatics, starting as a scenery boy for a Chinese pantomime at Lenox Hill Neighborhood House, where his brother Harry performed and Florence James directed. He was initially content working behind the scenes and had no interest in performing. One night, however, Harry became ill, and although Cagney was not an understudy, his photographic memory of rehearsals enabled him to stand in for his brother without making a single mistake. In 1919, while Cagney was working at Wanamaker's department store, a colleague saw him dance and informed him about a role in an upcoming production, Every Sailor. It was a wartime play in which the chorus was made up of servicemen dressed as women. That was the original title, Every Sailor. Cagney auditioned for the chorus, although considering it a waste of time, as he only knew one dance step, but he knew it perfectly. This was enough to convince the producers that he could dance, and he copied the other dancers' moves and added them to his repertoire. While he was waiting to go on, he did not find it odd to play a woman, nor was he embarrassed. He later recalled how he was able to shed his own natural shy persona when he stepped onto the stage. "For there I am not myself. I am not that fellow, Jim Cagney." Had Cagney's mother had her way, his stage career would have ended when he quit Every Sailor after 2 months. Proud as she was of his performance, she preferred that he get an education. Cagney appreciated the $35 a week he was paid, which he later remembered as a mountain of money for me in those worrisome days. In deference to his mother's concerns, he got a job as a brokerage house runner. This did not stop him from looking for more stage work. However, And when he went on to audition successfully for a chorus part in William B. Friedlander's musical Pitter Patter, for which he earned $55 a week, he would send $40 to his mother each week. Pitter Patter was not hugely successful, but it did well enough to run for 32 weeks, making it possible for Cagney to join the vaudeville circuit. The show began Cagney's 10-year association with vaudeville and Broadway. The Cagneys were among the early residents of Free Acres, a social experiment established by Bolton Hall in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Cagney's film debut would star in 1930's Sinner's Holiday as he played Harry Delano, also in 1930, The Doorway to Hell, where he played Steve Mileway. James Cagney won an Academy Award for Best Actor in 1943 for his role as George M. Cohan in the biopic Yankee Doodle Dandy. The film began shooting the day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the cast and crew worked in a patriotic frenzy. Cagney was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor 3 times, and received a nomination in 1938 for Angels with Dirty Faces. Yankee Doodle Dandy also won several other Academy Awards in 1943, including Best Musical Score, Best Sound Recording, Best Story, and Best Film Editing. Cagney said as a young man he had no political views, since he was more concerned about where his next meal was coming from. However, the emerging labor movement of the 20s and 30s soon forced him to take sides. The first version of the National Labor Relations Act was passed in 1935, and growing tensions between labor and management fueled the movement. In the 1930s, however, he was described as radical. This somehow exaggerated view was enhanced by his public contractual wranglings with Warner Brothers. At the time, his joining of the Screen Actors Guild in 1933 and his involvement in the revolt against the so-called Merriman Tax. The Merriman Tax was an underhanded method of funneling studio funds to politicians during the 1934 California campaign. The studio executives would tax their actors, automatically taking a day's pay from the biggest earners, ultimately sending nearly $500,000 to the campaign of Frank Merriman. Cagney publicly refused to pay, and Cagney even threatened that if the studios took a day's pay for Merriman's tax, he would give a week's pay to Upton Sinclair, Merriman's opponent in the race. During World War II, Cagney raised money for war bonds by taking part in racing expositions at the Roosevelt Raceway and selling seats for the premiere of Yankee Doodle Dandy. He also let the United States Army practice maneuvers at his Martha's Vineyards estate. In 1974, Cagney received the American Film Institute's Lifetime Achievement Award. Charlton Heston, in announcing that Cagney was to be honored, called him one of the most significant figures of a generation when American film was dominant. Cagney was among the most favored actors for director Stanley Kubrick and actor Marlon Brando, and was considered by Orson Welles to be maybe the greatest actor to ever appear in front of a camera. Warner Brothers arranged private screenings of Cagney films for Winston Churchill. For his contributions to the film industry, Cagney was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960, with his star located at 6504 Hollywood Boulevard. Cagney died of a heart attack at his Dutchess County farm in Stamford, New York, on Easter Sunday. He was 86 years old. A funeral mass was held at St. Francis de Sales Roman Catholic Church in Manhattan. The eulogy was delivered by his close friend Ronald Reagan, who was also President of the United States at the time. His pallbearers included boxer Floyd Patterson. Please comment below on what your favorite James Cagney movie was. Mine was Angels with Dirty Faces with the Dead End Kids. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe while we continue to keep chasing those golden stars. And please click on one of the videos above.